So this is the skeleton bench press routine that I used when I was competitive. That took me from 162 kilo bench presser up to 230 kilos. I think the days of me ever being able to bench press 230 are long behind me now. I do think, however, that I've got a 200 kilo bench press in me. Um, it's an interesting challenge, and I wanted to have something to have in the back of my mind um, for when I came back from the Husserfeld Stone Challenge in Iceland at the end of October. And so I thought it would be an interesting challenge to see if at 50 I could get that back up to 200 kilos. So essentially, what starts off happening is I do a bit of a warm up, not too much of a warm up. I'm not a big believer in excessive warm ups. Just making sure there's a bit of blood in the shoulders and triceps and upper back. First set, there, 40 kilos for a set of 10. Nice and easy, nothing strenuous. Um, then bump it up to 60 kilos. And what happens is the weight goes up um, by 20 kilos each set, and the reps start to come down. I hit a top set of 140, as you'll see a bit later in the video. Then I start to come down, weight coming down, reps going up again, kind of like the old-fashioned flushing sets. The biggest difference is that as I start to get more into that program, the one single top set that I did today will actually become 4 sets of 4 or 5 sets of 5, depending on how I'm feeling. But it will still be working up to that weight and then working back down with a higher rep flushing sets. I employ 2 pressing sessions a week, one on a Saturday and then one on a Tuesday, which I find gives me enough rest between sessions. I will put up the other session that I do on Tuesday, but essentially that's a whole lot more volume. About 15 sets of pressing. The majority of them ones, twos, and threes. It might sound like a lot, but even at my age, I feel that you can be lulled into this. Don't do too much volume. Well, I always think if you're eating enough and you're recovering okay, then you're not doing too badly. You're going to get to an age where your strength's going to come down anyway, so you might as well just press as hard as you can in the meantime. But on top of the pressing, I'm a big believer in doing an awful lot of upper back work for bench press. I don't subscribe to the idea that bench press is a particularly good pec exercise. Like Kelly Starrett says, your pecs are essentially huge stabilizers, which is why the world record bench press isn't far off the world record deadlift. The likes of Louis Simmons will tell you that actually the prime movers in a bench press are the lats, and as it comes off your chest, and your triceps and front delts, and I'm a huge believer in that. There are obviously ways to make it a more effective pec exercise, and you'll see the last set I do will be an exercise that Vince Gironda championed, the guillotine press, where the weight is much reduced and hands go into a much wider spacing, elbows stay flared, so you bring it down over your throat. It's a much more savage stretch and much better for pec development. And it's interesting because strength athletes, as a strength athlete, I always think there's got to be a point in every strength athlete's life, training life, where you have to realize you are going to have to spend some time building some muscle. You can do strength block after strength block after strength block, and you will build muscle just doing strength blocks. But eventually, you are going to have to do some hypertrophy work to build a bit more muscle so that you've got more muscle to shift the weight that you want to shift. And the same rings true for bodybuilders. I think a lot of bodybuilders could make some serious improvement by having a strength block now and again, so that the weight that they stimulate their muscles with can actually be slightly higher and still in good form. Then that's going to pay big dividends. But anyway, moving up there, that was 100 kilos, sorry. It's now moving up to 120 kilos here, which I think when I did it felt quite smooth. I often get questions on the channel, what am I weighing at the minute? Well, I'm only an average height, I'm only 5'10", but I'm quite heavy at the minute. I'm 18 stone, about 114 kilos, something like that, 113 kilos. I've got a big belly right now, and I'm fine with that. There's a reason I'm trying to be heavy, because lifting this Husafell stone is going to be a challenge. I know if my friend Liam is watching this, that did it recently, you can follow him, Liam Brown, on Insta. He's 93 kilos. He is the lightest person I'm aware of that's ever done it. I am sure that a lot of people that will watch this might let me know that there are lighter people, but if you go on his YouTube channel there, Liam Brown, on Instagram, you see him, how easy he did that. It's a phenomenally strong guy, and he did it. But I'd already committed to getting heavier before I saw his video. When I come back from Iceland, the first thing I intend to do is to start to lose a little bit of belly fat. It's way bigger than I want it to be. Like I say, around about 245, 250 pound, and that'll have to come down. I tend to probably get down to 210 pound maybe, so that's a good 40 pound fat loss, which is no problem. I'm a huge fan of Stan Efferding's vertical diet, and that's what I will employ to get my body fat down. And then obviously I'm prepared to lose a little bit of strength in the interim, but then when I've got down to the weight that I want to be down to, I can start to bump my strength up again and start getting something more like. But anyway, so that was the 120 kilo set, and here we are now putting in a couple of 10s on. This is now jumping up to 140 kilos. This is where I'll put on a bit more compression, so my elbow sleeves and my wrist wraps. There's nothing wrong with compression. If you don't like it, don't use it. If you do, then use it. But what I will say is, generally speaking, people that employ compression tend to have longer lifting careers. Equipped powerlifters tend to be lifting longer than those lifters that powerlifters, strength athletes that don't use compression. I mean, look at the strongmen, the world's strongest men. They employ it wherever they get the opportunity, wherever the competition rules allow them to wear it, they do. And they are ultimately just tools to enable you to get where you're going, the goals that you've set. They will help you. But if you don't like those things, then that's fine. Don't use them. I think we need to move away from criticising people for using them or not using them just because it's something that we do or don't like. But anyway, these elbow sleeves I've got on here, they're from Strength Shop. I'm not sponsored by them, and they're the best elbow sleeves I've ever had, actually. They've lasted me a really long time. They are probably now coming to the end of their life. I might renew them with the same ones. My wife, actually, she bought some. She's a competitive powerlifter, a powerlifting champion, actually. She uses the Cerberus ones. I might try them next time. But the ones I'm wearing are just a double ply. I might try the triple ply next time. Maybe I won't. We'll just have to see how it goes. The wrist wraps there I'm putting on, they're Elite FTS. They're really soft version. They're really soft ones. And they feel really good whilst also being tight. I do have the extra stiff Elite FTS wrist wraps. They are savage. They really are. They're like wrapping thick cardboard around your wrists, but there's no need for them yet. Anyway, this is the 140. Came down a little bit slower than I would have wanted, but it shot up, so I was pleased with that. And now what would normally happen moving forward, for those that follow the channel will see, that will end up being working up to 4 sets of 4 or 5 sets of 5, depending on how I'm feeling and how I've eaten and recovered. And then we'll drop down doing higher reps, more volume, to get a little bit of flushing, as the old school weightlifters would have told you, a little bit of volume for a little bit of muscle building, which it's always good to do. For those of you who followed the channel for a while will remember that I put my shoulder out with the Husafell sandbag, the Cerberus bag. You can just see it there on the left of the picture. When I first got it, went in too eager and really hurt my shoulder. Had a partial tear in my supraspinatus, which now is fully healed. For those interested, part of the methodology that I used was peptides, BPC 157 and TB 500. I used them both, and they made a massive difference. Very quickly healed the injury, and I was able to, from the tear in last September, over a year ago, to being able to bench press was just a few months back up to 140, where I like to maintain, when I'm not chasing bench press goals, for me, I like to keep my bench press around at 140 kilos. I know there's this big debate on the internet at the minute as to whether 140 kilos or whatever it is, 315 pound, whatever, is achievable by everybody. Of course, there are going to be some people that will never get there. You know, if you're too light, you know how critical weight is to the bench press. You can, I've seen people in the gym have put body weight on, haven't particularly worked hard at the bench press, but their bench press has gone up because they've added a bit of mass. So there are people that are not going to be able to do it because they just can't put weight on or don't want to put weight on. But in general, I think if you can put weight on, if you're prepared to do it and work hard and train intelligently for your goals, I think that 140 kilos is attainable for most people. Now, as I say that, I'm looking at going up to 200. Is that attainable for most people? I think probably not. That was another set of 10 there at 80. I think being able to, having been there and slightly over, I think I'm in a better position to be able to get back to it. I am prepared to be a little bit heavier than I need to be, as you can see here. I don't want to be anywhere near this weight when I do it, though. Maybe I'll be down at probably 210 pound when I do that. 220 at the most, but I do need now to bring my weight down considerably for health reasons. It's affecting my sleep and how I'm generally feeling. I don't feel particularly good at the minute, but it's for a reason. And I've not got long now, just 3 weeks. I can start to back off the number of calories that I'm eating, which is considerable. So now dropping down to 40 kilos, and this is going to be the guillotine press, as I said, championed by Vince Gironda. So the idea with this is it's a much wider grip, provided your shoulder is in reasonably good health, with reasonable mobility in your wrists. There's not really any issues with it, unless you have got dicky shoulders. Then you're going to have to be careful. Maybe start even lighter and feel your way into the movement. So anyway, slightly wider grip, flared elbows, and the bar comes down across your throat region, and you feel an intense stretch in the pecs. For me, and this is not a rule, not everyone says, oh, you've got to do this or that, and I always think, well, who made that rule? But really wide. This for me is the best way to build your pec muscles with the bench press. Doesn't have to be that way for everyone, and I'm not saying that it is, but this is just what gives me the best stretch in my chest. I do have a little bit of restriction in my shoulders, and actually I find this helps massively, because fully 80% of shoulder mobility is a lack of shoulder mobility is caused by tight pecs and lats, and I find this movement and for pecs and lats with pullovers tends to free that up, starts to help. But more on that on another date. Anyway, coming to the end of the towards the end of the video now. That was my last set, and there'll be more in the next one. So thanks for watching, and catch you next time.